Timothy Michel Totwa, on behalf of the Economics and Trade Mission, Embassy of Israel in Vietnam. Thank you for speaking with us today. So today we would like to talk about the Vietnam economics performance in 2014. Could you like to share with us your view?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I think the Vietnamese economy is doing actually pretty well in 2014, considering the global economy is not that strong. The GDP growth this year is looking to reach maybe 5.7, 5.8%, which is quite a very good number. Inflation is coming down to maybe 2%, which is a record low for Vietnam. And at the back of that, the PMI is about a 52 right now, which is a good, number showing expansion of production, and the retail sales demand is up about 11% this year. So all the economic numbers are looking rather good for Vietnam, and on the back of very strong exports. And what's generating these exports is a lot of foreign companies establishing themselves in Vietnam and using Vietnam as a base for to produce and to export globally.
What do you think about 2015?
I think 2015 will continue to be a very strong year for Vietnam. Just look at the amount of FDI that was committed and disbursed in 2014, which is about $12 billion, which is a very high number, one of the records, and most of that money goes into manufacturing, which shows that very likely Vietnam will continue to do very well in terms of exports. And with the very low inflation, we expect interest rates to come down even further, and that will definitely help the economy of Vietnam to grow even further. So we're quite bullish and quite positive on the economy in 2015.
What are the main challenges of the economy we'll face in 2015?
I think the main challenges will be global growth. If global growth really slows down, then that could make it a little bit harder for Vietnam to grow as fast as it would like to. Obviously, the U.S. right now is doing very well, but Japan and Europe is not doing that well. So that represents a risk for Vietnam. The other risk is relates to, how can I say, the reform of SOEs and state-owned enterprises, which is ongoing, and there's a lot of privatization coming in 2015, although delays are happen quite often, so that could also means lesser growth if there's less privatization.
What are the advantages and disadvantages of foreign investor in Vietnam?
Okay, I think there's really two types of investors in Vietnam. You have those who come to Vietnam to try to take advantage of the country as a production base, and you have those who come here for to sell their products into Vietnam. If you look at those who come to Vietnam to establish a production base, they come to Vietnam, yeah, of course, labor is cheaper, but also you can get land at very good prices. You can get tax incentives, especially in high-tech industries. And you have a workforce that is, relatively well educated, and it is very hardworking and quite productive when they learn the right tools and the right skills. So that makes Vietnam a quite very strong base for production. And just for example, you have Samsung, who today produces 50% of all its mobile phones in Vietnam globally. China is no longer the place where they do their mobile phones. So I think that's a very positive aspect for Vietnam. For the foreigners who come here to try to sell their products, your products need to be technologically advanced to make a difference. Most markets in Vietnam are very competitive. The Vietnamese are very, very strong entrepreneurs, so you need to have a lot of patience, and you need to have a product or a service that the Vietnamese need that they can't find within Vietnam, which is possible. Definitely, Vietnamese need foreign technology and foreign skills.
Thank you for sharing with us today.